Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is the second lecture of non-fictional prose, and it's interesting that we have this title of this course, non-fictional prose. We have a prefix here, non, and we have here al suffix, which we talked about last time. Non means not. So our prose that we are going to talk about is not fictional. This is the meaning of non-fictional. So let's apply the prefix and suffix rule that we talked about on our course title, non-fictional prose. So we have non, the prefix, fiction is the stem, and al is the suffix. Al means related to. So fictional means related to fiction. It has something to do with fiction. But we have non in the beginning of the word, so it means not fictional. I received many questions about the word prose, because prose has to do with literature, but our course is non-fictional. It has nothing to do with fiction. It has nothing to do with literature. We are going to study English academic reading text. It has nothing to do with literature. So non-fictional prose. We figured out the meaning of the word from its smaller units. In this lecture, we are going to have more reading strategies, and we will use our book as always, because as I said, the book is very important. We have to have the book. Why? Because it is a reading course. Again and again, it is a reading course. We need the book. If we don't have the book, we cannot read. Reading is a result of having a book, having something in front of you to read. So we must have the book. Today we are going to study two main ideas. Inferencing the main idea, we try to understand, to get out the main idea from a paragraph and understand that main idea. And then we are going to have more suffixes and the prefixes exercises. We are going to study pages 16, not 18, sorry for this typo. Page 16 till page 23. And let's go to page 16. We have here part 2, reading skills and strategies, my country. Before you read, we want to get the meaning of words from context and structure. We try to understand the meaning of the words from the sentence itself, from the context. This will help us to understand the text. When we meet these difficult words, we understand more the text, because we already understood the meaning or gotten the meaning of these words before we read the text. Number 1 is done for us. Number 2, it is the fastness of Canada that surprises people. This is in line 4. And to go to the passage, we can go here to the passage, and we see here's numbers. Here's 5. It means line 5. So line 4 should be, or supposed to be, above here. So fastness, you see the word fastness. So this is the meaning of lines. If you see line and the number, you can go to the passage and see the sentence. It's the fastness of Canada that surprises people. Fastness means very large, so large size is the correct answer. The observant visitor will note some differences. Line 8. This means the visitor who looks around. This is the meaning of the observant. You look around, observing the things around you. This is the meaning of observant. The national make-up, line 9, refers to the Canadian character. Burton talks about the American melting pot. This means a society of people who become very similar, but sometimes melting pot means people coming from different cultures. So you can have it both ways. Melting pot means people coming from different cultures, from different societies, from different backgrounds. They come into one society, and then they become one society. So melting pot could mean different, and it could mean similar. But in this sentence, in this context, Burton talks about the American melting pot. This means a society of people who become very similar. But as I said, it could mean different in another sense, in another meaning. In July and August, Eastern Canadians suffer in the heat and humidity. Humidity means wetness. A newcomer is someone who has just arrived. This is the answer. Canada did not have a civil war, but it did have some uprisings. Uprisings is revolutions. The lawmen, Lawmen, means sheriffs and policemen. But if you have the word Lowmen, if we just change the A here into O, it becomes lawmen, so it becomes robbers and murderers. So be careful when you see words like these. Try to see the exact spelling so you know the correct meaning. But here, law, L-A-W, it means the system or the rules. So the correct answer here, the lawmen, means sheriffs and policemen. The author says that Americans are more outgoing than Canadians. This means they are not as shy as Canadian. If you are outgoing, it means you are not shy. Outgoing, that means you talk to people, you welcome friends, a lot of friends, you talk to them, you speak to them, you are not shy. The French style cooking of Quebec means food prepared for French people in the French way. It means in the French way. French style means French way. So we understood some of the main or key words in the text before we read it. Now we are going to find the implied. We are going to find the implied main ideas. Implied means it's not clear. It's not in front of us. We have to think about it before we get it out from the paragraph. This is the meaning of implied main ideas. We have here the passage, my country, and as we said, we should look at pictures before we read. So this is the picture of Canada. We see here the provinces, the cities. Here is the Quebec, where there are many French people. They speak French and they live in the French way, French style. And the title of the picture is the North America continent consists of Canada, the United States, and Mexico. All of these help us before we read. So my country, to a stranger the land must seem endless. A herring gull winging its way from St. John's, Newfoundland to Victoria on the southern tip of Vancouver Island will travel as far as the distance from London to Baghdad. It is the vastness that startles the imagination of all who visit my country. So you see, there is no topic sentence here. I'm sure that you have studied topic sentence in composition 1 and in reading 1. usually there is a topic sentence in the beginning of the paragraphs, always in the beginning of the paragraph, which tells us the main idea of the paragraph. But here, we don't have a topic sentence. To a stranger, the land must seem endless. So you see, it's not a proper topic sentence, but it gives us a hint. Endless. This is the hint. Endless means there is no end of this land. And we have the word vastness. We said very large, very big. So let's see where is the correct answer here. The main idea is Canada is strange. Canada is very, very big. Canada is hard to know. Well, I'm sure that you know the correct answer, which is B. Canada is very big. Contrary to common belief, we do not live in snow-covered cabins far from civilization. Most of us inhabit cities that do not seem to differ greatly from those to the south of us. The observant visitor, however, will note some differences. The variety of our national makeup is, I believe, more pronounced than it is in the American melting pot. A newcomer in the United States quickly learns to cover up his or her origins and become an American. A newcomer to Canada manages to keep something of the culture and customs of his or her ethnic background. So what is the main idea of the paragraph here? Canadians appear to others as simple people who inhabit snow-covered cabins in the woods. No. If we go back to the paragraph, it says they do not inhabit snow-covered. So A is not the correct answer. Let's see B and C. Canadians live in almost exactly the same way as Americans live, but really there are differences. Yes, it could be the correct answer because of this sentence. I believe more pronounced than it is in the American melting pot. So there is similarity between the two. Or is it all Canadians seem alike, but they have more variety in their customs and cultures than Americans? So you see, sometimes test writers or someone like the one who wrote this book gives very close, very similar answer, and they look correct. And well, I don't have any objections, any objection to this, but we should not give such choices, because this can be misleading to students, and they think that, well, B is the correct answer because we have evidence here, and C is also a correct answer. So sometimes mosaic or interactions have some problems, and it's sometimes difficult to explain these problems, but I think this is a very clear example of how books sometimes have not so well written questions. Well, to me, I would choose C. All Canadians seem alike, but they have more variety in their customs and culture than Americans. This is more pronounced. This is more, or this is clearer than the other choice. Well, I think this is the correct answer. Well, I'm not going to read all the paragraphs for you. I'll leave it to you, but I'm going to answer the questions to you and give you a justification for the answer, because I'm expecting you to do it yourself exercises. I'm expecting you to read by yourself and then test your knowledge. I teach this course for the regular students in the university, and I always ask them to prepare at home and then come to class prepared, and we start some discussions together, and we have a very interactive environment. So I'll try my best to do the same to you. I'll leave you read the paragraphs and then help you with the answer. So I'm supposing that you have read these 4 or 5 lines, and the main idea of the paragraph above, it can get very cold in Canada, it can get very hot in Canada, eastern cities suffer more than western cities. And again, with this question, it's not so well written. Why? Because the 3 answers are correct. But I'm assuming, I think the book writer or the book author wants the most comprehensive, the main idea, the main idea that covers all that covers the paragraph more than the other 2 choices. If this is the case, well then C is the correct answer, because if we chose A, B is also correct, because it can get very hot and also it can get very cold in Canada. But C, eastern cities suffer more than western cities, well, I think this choice covers both A and B. With the 4th question, it talks about people think Canadians are like Americans, but Canadians are really more conservative and moderate. Canada is a country of extremes, both in its temperatures and in the character of its people. The Canadian temperament is like the American one because of social attitudes, environment, and history. Where temperature is concerned, we are a country of extremes, and yet, as people, we tend toward moderation and even conservatism. So A is the best choice, but also B could be a good choice or a best choice. C is excluded. So again, we have A and B, but B is more comprehensive than A. So we are going to apply the same rule here. If the book author wants the main idea that covers up the other choices, well then B covers A. But also A could be a main idea. But if we have A and B, B is the best choice. So B here is the correct answer. Be assured that in my exam I'm not going to include such items. Believe me, I promise you, I'm not going to include such items. Last one here. C is the correct answer. Canadian history is not violent. They did not have a lot of battles and etc. Well, now let's answer question 3. Well, I'm expecting you to read the rest of the passage, and now we are going to check our comprehension. With 1, most Canadians live in snow-covered cabins far from civilization. Well, this is false. In Canada, newcomers keep more of their original country's customs and culture than do newcomers in the United States. Well, yes, this is true. This is what the passage talked about, that you can keep your customs, your culture when you go to Canada, unlike America. Canada is a very cold country, even in the summertime. Yes, it can get very cold and also it can get very hot. If you go to the paragraph here, we will see the answer here. Mountains. It can get very cold in Canada. Few non-Canadians understand that it can also get very hot. The eastern cities suffer in the humidity of July and August, and people actually die each year from the heat. So in the summertime, Canada is very cold country. Yes, but in the summertime, no. So the answer is F. It is false. In the summertime, people die from the heat. The history of Canada is more bloody and violent than the history of the United States. This is false. The correct answer is the opposite. United States is more violent. Generally speaking, Canadians are more conservative than Americans. Yes, this is true. The Wild West, with its gun and sheriffs with open shirts, was an important part of American and Canadian history. Well, no, it was part of American only. But you see, this can be true. And I hate when people just add one phrase to make the sentence false. Well, if you want to write false sentences, write them very clear. Do not try to trick people. Tricky questions are not advisable to me. Well, my major is language testing, and I criticize such items. So 6 is false. Canadians express their emotions more openly than Americans do. Well, we said that Americans are more outgoing than Canadian. We have it here. Yes, we have it somewhere in the paragraph. I'll leave you find it, but I'm sure you will find it there, that Americans more outgoing than Canadians. So this is number 7 is false, not correct. The United States has only one official language, but Canada has 2. Yes, there are 2 languages, English and French. In general, Canadians are anti-American and Americans are anti-Canadians. No, this is not true, false. Canadians' buildings, food, and businesses look very different from those in the United States. Well, this is not true. They have some differences, but not in the building and etc. Now, we are going to analyze some prefixes and some suffixes. We will start with prefixes, which are non and anti. Non means not, anti means against. So number 1, non-resident. It means people who is not residing in this country. So if you go to live in the United States, in the UK, you are non-residents. Why? Because you live in Saudi Arabia. So non-residents means you don't live there. Anti-American, we said anti means against. So you are against American, it means you don't like American. An anti-war protest. An anti-war means you are against war protests and you don't like wars protests. And I hope God will help us and saves us from protest and keeps us away from protest. A non-violent group, it means a group that does not like violence. Non means not. Non-Germans, it means you are not German. If you say I am non-German, it means your nationality is not German. Non-Mexican is the same. Antisocial, it means you are against society. You don't like to socialize with people. You like to sit alone. Non-voters, when you vote, voting has to do with elections. For example, in America, they had the election between Obama and George Bush. You give your vote to one of them. This is voting. So non-voters, people who do not vote, they prefer to keep silent and not give their vote to anybody. Anti-monopoly laws, you are against monopolying laws. Monopolying, it means that you get something for yourself and you don't give it to others. Non-payment means you did not pay. For example, if you have your mobile phone bill and you did not pay, you receive, for example, a non-payment advice or a non-payment bill, or they cut your phone because of non-payment. So this is the prefixes non and anti. How do they help us? If we see them in the words, they help us to get their meanings without checking the dictionary or asking someone for help. Suffixes also here will do the same to us. They will give us some help to understand the meaning of some difficult words. We have ation. We add this to the end of the word, and it means the process of condition of some action or quality. It makes nouns out of verbs. So we have verbs. If we add ation, they become nouns. The process of being transported involves transportation. So we have the word transport and then transportation. If you are in the process of decoration, you are involved in if you are in the process of decorating, you are involved in decoration. You have full. The suffix full means full of, characterized by a certain quality. It makes adjectives out of nouns. Something full of beauty is beautiful. Something that can cause a lot of harm is harmful. For example, playing with knives, playing karate, playing boxing can be sometimes harmful. The suffix ment means something that results from the action of a verb. It makes nouns out of verbs. The thing that people accomplish are accomplishments. The group of people who govern are members of the government. The suffix ous means having or being full of some quality. It's similar to full, but full can be used with certain words. Ous can be used with certain words. For example, with harm, we cannot say harmless. No, harm takes full, harmful. But with ous, we have, for example, the word gorgeous. We have the word prosperous. We have the word here furious. And we have here the word glory. It becomes glorious. We change the y into I, and then we add ous, glory, glorious. Now we have another exercise here. Our surroundings are our environments. Everything that is around us is our environment. So we add the ment above. Number 2, some countries are hard to imagine. It is difficult to see them in our imagination. We add ation. We delete the e. The head of that corporation has a lot of power, and he also has many powerful friends. Some people are moderate. They show moderation in their reactions. So we add ation. The place that settlers come to live is a settlement. We add ment. We have here the word move. It becomes movement. We have here mountains. It becomes mountainous. We add ous. And we have here mystery. It becomes mysterious. We add ous. We are left with this little exercise. It is taken from the passage. I'll leave it to you to do it. Try to do it yourself. If you do not know the answer, go back to the passage. I advise you to do it yourself. You have here the choices, try to fill them in the gaps here, and if you do not know the answer, go back to the passage to see the answer. But I advise you to do it yourself just to check your comprehension. Well, this is it for this lecture, and how I hope you understood it, and I welcome any queries about it. Thank you very much.